Vamos a la final. What is up, you guys? What's up, nation? Into the final we go. Never in doubt. My AirPod just fell out of my ear. Oh my god. What a horrible game. What a an agonizing experience. This game did not need to be stressful as it was. That's probably right. But it's not Atleti without suffering, guys. What do we talk about all the time? We have to suffer. We have to go through the worst and most horrible experiences of our lives to have the really validating ones and the life affirming ones. Oh my gosh, where to begin? Oh, well, took 2 years off my lifespan. Yeah, probably about 10 for me. The F-bomb that I let out when Pubil conceded the penalty that Rafinha converted for 2-0 rattled my building, I think. Oh, what a terrible game, but a result that gets us through to the final nonetheless. Yeah, for the first time in 13 years, Atleti are through to the Copa del Rey final. It's just eliminating Barcelona. Absolutely insane scenes at Camp Nou as Barca win, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. In the end, guys, Julian Alvarez's goal in first half stoppage time of the first leg. In the end, that is the goal that gets us through to the final. That is one way to look at it. That is one of the ways I'm choosing to look at it. For what was a really horrible game and a horrible experience, but a beautiful one that does recall to mind some of the great nights under Simeone that we've lived. Not in terms of the result. Let's make that clear. Terrible game, acceptable result, and Julian did not have a good game. He wasn't alone. Okay, I'm going to talk about Antoine in a little bit, but Antoine Griezmann was really the only one who looked like he was going to be able to do anything tonight. It recalls to mind some of those games where we have really, really had to suffer for beautiful things. You know, the semifinal against Bayern in the Champions League 10 years ago, the second leg. Liverpool, the second leg at Anfield, the second leg tonight. This is always in Atleti's DNA. And it is not pretty. It is not for everyone. It's draining. It's exhausting. I've lost a few years off my life. I was telling my friends my Apple Watch my Apple Watch kept, it's now, I think it's dead now. It was giving me an alert that it's at 5%. Yeah, it's at 3% now. But my Apple Watch kept telling me your heart rate is high. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, no shit, my heart rate is high because we're defending for our lives after Marc Bernal scored a goal that should not have been given. It should have been ruled offside. After Marc Bernal scores for 3-0, and we have to defend for our lives. So honestly, at the very end of the game, and you know what? I'm going to, I don't know if this will be controversial or whatever, but I felt pretty, as we got to the very end, as we got to the last 5 minutes, as we got to stoppage time, it finally felt like Atleti had a little bit of control. It finally felt like Barca's legs were gone. After 90 fucking minutes, their legs were finally gone. And Baena and Sørloth were able to bleed some time off the clock. It finally felt like we had a modicum of control. And this is it, guys. This is what we live for. 13 years without a final, without a Copa del Rey final. This is it right here. This is what we watch for. This is what we dream about. We dream about Atleti having the chance to win a trophy. 13 years is a really long time. You know, I don't know how old all of you were. I don't know where you were in terms of your fandom, in terms of watching and enjoying this team. However much you can watch and enjoy Atletico de Madrid sometimes. It's not enjoyable. But I was 18 years old the last time we were in a Copa del Rey final. So do the math, you'll get to how old I am. What are we going to do if we face Barca in the Champions League quarterfinals? Let's get past Tottenham first. Laugh at me if you want, but let's get past Tottenham first. Not that partido a partido is really the motto that we live by around here, like these parts anymore, but I'm gonna enjoy tonight. The best 3-0 loss of all time. That's what they're calling it. Oh man, and I was gonna engage in a little Schadenfreude. I had a bunch of tweets bookmarked to engage in a little Schadenfreude. There's only so much of it I can do, but I am gonna do a little bit of it. Maybe not at this present moment, but I am gonna do a little bit of it because Barca on another day, yeah, Barca absolutely get that fourth goal. Let's take a look at some of the let's take a look at the lineups and some of the stats here. I mean, yeah, the FOTMob ratings feel pretty accurate, right? Barca were great. You take a look at the stats. Barca had 70% of the ball, 3.1 expected goals. You take out the penalty, it's 2.3 expected goals. So they scored 3 goals from 3.1 expected. That's about right. This 3-0 win is deserved. Atleti didn't generate a whole lot. 0.68 XG, 7 shots, 2 on target, 0 big chances after the way that Atleti just rolled them over in the first leg. 616 accurate passes to 212. Terrible. It's just awful. But we only committed 7 fouls. That stat right here, the 15 corners, every corner Barca got. I mean, they scored from 2 corners. And I was talking with Dan Hilton on his podcast yesterday about how Barca historically aren't a team that scores a bunch of goals from corners or isn't very opportunistic from corners. All 3 of their goals came from set pieces tonight. From open play, I think Atleti conceded a lot of territory. Atleti had concentration errors at the end of the first half and pretty deep into the second half as well until around minute 87, minute 88 when Atleti got the second win they needed to get. Oh my God, yes. Seif says we need Barrios. Yeah. Barrios was in the squad. I was excited about, okay, maybe there's a possibility he plays 10 minutes here. Maybe there's a possibility he plays 5, 15, whatever he can give us, but he's still not fit enough. Hopefully he's back at the weekend, but I think you're eyeing next week against Spurs, the first leg in North London. I mean, all these attacking stats, these offensive stats, Barca control. I mean, this result in itself is not a shock. From minute 1, Barcelona were going to put us under tremendous pressure, tremendous strain. All those tweets, all those jokes, those AI-generated clips of Simeone and the players building a brick wall, it turned out to be pretty accurate. There were only a few occasions, fewer than I expected, where Atletico were able to find space and were able to have opportunities in front of Joan Garcia. Griezmann had one from a really nice passage of play at 0-0. Who created that for him? Let me look through my notes here. Yeah, it was Lookman, one of Lookman's few bright moments tonight. Lookman had a really tough game. Lookman had some really fancy footwork on the right to create space. Koke then, automatic, really, played a short pass to Ruggeri. Ruggeri crossed it to Griezmann, but Griezmann couldn't really control the ball. His shot was right at Joan Garcia. And that was like a sliding doors moment. Because 3 or 4 minutes after that, Marc Banal scores from the corner after Lamine Yamal just dribbles into the box, drags 2 defenders with him. He was really good tonight. Damn, man. And then at 1-0 down at the very end of the first half, saw someone say this right here. Jerry Liu said this. Lookman should have scored. Yeah, Lookman had a great chance of his own at the end of the half. And he had a really rough first half, drawn into a lot of defensive work. He went to ground a few times. I thought a couple of those were fouls. No luck winning a foul. Had a transition attempt blocked. And then he has the header flash wide. Ooh, looking forward to reading this. Goodbye, Mr. A. Going to do a write-up on the game for Into the Calderon either today or tomorrow. Salute. Looking forward to reading it. Because there is a bit to analyze here. This wasn't just harem ball. I mean, there were genuine times when Atleti were able to transition, and there were times when Atleti were able to get in behind. I thought Alvarez, in a period bridging the first and second halves, I thought Alvarez was a genuinely effective transition outlet. He was more effective than Surloth was tonight. Surloth, until the very end, was a zero. But I thought Surloth's main value was the very end of the game. The last few minutes when Surloth and Baena were able to kill the clock, get the ball as deep as they could. It would invariably be an offside or a foul or whatever. 688 passes to 288. Beautiful. 74% passing accuracy. 432 Barca passes in the Atletico half. We attempted 72 passes in their half. 41 touches in the Atleti box. There's a school of thought that says, and they only scored 3 goals. Yeah, because of Juan Musso. Pretty smooth transition, wasn't that? Juan Musso tonight, man. Incredible game from Musso. He concedes 3 goals, and I think he still had an incredible game. The security that he transmits, decisive actions, going up, getting the ball. Ali Correz on Into the Calderon, a friend of the show, Ali Correz wrote in his player ratings, which you can now read. He had a little bit of criticism for Musso. I'm gonna share my screen here so you guys can see what I mean. Here's Ali's capsule on Musso. The way he pushed Ferran Torres' shot out for the corner, which led to Barca's first, had to be questions. Yeah, that was a really bad sequence because it's an Atleti throw-in. This goal originates from an Atleti throw-in. Koke loses the ball. Like, inexplicably, Koke loses the ball. Ferran dribbles into the box. I'm not sure Musso was expecting, like, any of this because all Musso can do is really parry it away, and it just kind of squirts out of play for a corner. And that's an entirely preventable sequence. Other than that, though, for a guy who conceded 3 goals, I mean, how many saves did Musso make tonight? 6 saves. As we go back here, 6 saves, 4.30 expected goals on target faced. So he prevented an additional goal. That's your difference right there. That plus Alvarez's strike at the end of the first half in the first leg. That is the difference right there. You know, there was on the Bernal goal, Bernal is all alone in space in front of Musso. And for an Atleti team that had been showing signs of improvement in defending set pieces, this was a pretty big step back. Give the defense their dues. The way the defense closed the space was great to minimize the space that Musso had to cover. Yeah, I think I said something about this a moment ago, right? Or maybe it was in my head. All 3 Barca goals come from set pieces. And talk about Atleti's set piece defending. It was not very good. But in open play, especially in the first half, Atleti were fairly good. There were concentration issues. But as the game went on, Atleti, I think, they had just enough margin left, right? And the third goal is just ridiculous, just an absurdity, a comedy of errors in Daniel Jesus Trujillo's VAR room. I think other than the penalty, Pubillo had a really good game. Other than the penalty, and I'm not just saying this as a Mark Pubillo fanboy. He gets a 5.9 rating on FOTMA, probably because of the penalty, right? 7 clearances, 2 interceptions, 2 recoveries, committed only 1 foul, and that was the penalty. I mean, this is your defensive leader right here. I thought other than the penalty, Pubillo had a good game. And the first goal, I think it was Johnny who lost his marker, right? Johnny and then someone, I have it in my notes. Hang on. Yeah, Lamine dribbled past 2 defenders, and Bernal is just in all the space in front of Musso. And then for 2-0, I mean, I thought Atleti were growing into the game after 1-0. You had the Lookman opportunity, and then a quick 1-2 on the edge of the area. Pubil just mistimes his tackle, brings down Pedri. And De Burgos Bengoechea let a lot of little fouls go, like faltitas. He let a lot of those go. Pubil did just catch Pedri, and it was kind of ironic because he let a lot of the little fouls go, the little instances of contact go, but then he mistimes the challenge. He gets punished for mistiming the challenge, and Rafinha sends Musso the wrong way. And then the second half is just a succession of corners, really, until Barca get the third goal. Barca lose 2 fullbacks due to muscle injuries. Jules Koundé lasts 10 minutes. Alejandro Balde comes on, replaces him. He lasts 60 minutes. The penalty really killed our momentum. Yeah. Again, at 1-0 down, I thought Atleti were still hanging in there. The resistance was breaking a bit, though the wall was starting to crack a little bit. But that was a dangerous moment right there at 1-0 and then 2-0 down. That was a really dangerous moment. And then again, it's a succession of corners until Barca get the third goal. Let's Archivo VAR. Let's see what Archivo VAR says. Well, here's the first one about the Pedri penalty, the Pubil foul on Pedri. In his attempt to reach the ball, Pubil trips Pedri inside the box. VAR confirmed it. Let's see if we can find the screenshot. Okay. Yeah, right there. See Pubil's leg right there? Yeah, I think it's a penalty, but there were a lot of instances of like minor contact that were let go. This one was not. And then, oh my God, the third goal was a joke. Like I thought I was going crazy. Let me find the tweet I posted. Like I felt like I was going insane. How was this given? I mean, you got to be kidding me. The more still images they showed, the more like it looked like he was offside. Asbestos fiber line on side. Yeah, how do you determine that? Like, it's a millimeter. And the goal is, I guess Hansko keeps him on side, but the bigger sin here is that now Molina was ball watching. And I thought these were okay minutes from Molina, but Molina was just standing there ball watching. I mean, crazy. To me, that is kind of a, maybe it's a scenario where they're using the wrong screenshot again. It like the Daniel Jesus Trujillo was the VAR official in the Betis game when Griezmann scored to make it 1-1, but he ruled it out for a very, very fractional offside. Get a load of this guy who knows the rules, quote unquote. Get a load of this nerd who knows the rules. Good friend Danny Hidalgo, good friend of the show, was talking about the corner stat in the chat. I see you, Danny. Shout out, Danny. It was crazy. 15 corners to 0. 41 Barca touches in the box. I thought by and large the box defending was good, other than to the earlier comment from a Goodbye Mr. A. The box defending was largely good. God, where was I going with this? I had another surely very insightful thing to say. Okay. I'll change gears while I think about it. Koke and Cardoso exposed us badly. Surloth was woeful. Bayern didn't do much. Awful subs except Jimenez. Yeah, let's talk about Jimenez. I thought this was a perfect substitution. And I'm still waiting to see if there's a parte medico on Giuliano, because the play immediately preceding Jimenez's entry into the game is that Giuliano gets like body slammed, gets body checked over the boundary, fighting for a ball with was it Gerard Martin? Yeah, Gerard Martin. And yeah, it was clearly a foul. But what Jimenez did was he restored control, he restored calm, and that was a big reason why Atleti were so much more assured at the end of the match. That's leadership right there. And it's not so easy to, we can sit here and talk about transfers and what the team should look like in the next season and in the future seasons, but leadership is not easily replaced. And Jimenez is someone who obviously has a pretty extensive injury record and is someone who has been here a really long time. And you get the sense that his ceiling was lowered by all the injuries. But when he comes on with 15 minutes to go, another 10 really nervy minutes, and then Atleti kind of have a little bit of serenity. A realization seems to sink in as Barca's legs start to go, and Atleti continue to defend pretty confidently and assuredly. 4 clearances for Jimenez in 20 minutes. That's including stoppage time. 3-headed clearances, only 3 passes attempted. GOAT. It's my GOAT. That's the I guess the archetypal Simeone Chalismo center back. Just hoof it. Just, you're under pressure. You're under this much suffering. Just hoof it. I see a few of you talking about Simeone's future in the chat and the Felipe Luis news that dropped last night. I'm going to circle back to that, so have patience with me. We talked about Jimenez, who had a really important role to play in this game. And that is something that can be analyzed, is how Simeone had 1 bullet left in the chamber, and he chose to use it on Josema. Thank goodness he was fit. Thank goodness that Simeone had that change remaining, that Simeone didn't use one of his triple or quadruple changes when things weren't going well. And thank goodness we had the margin from the first leg. Thank goodness for that, guys. Any other individual performances? Yeah, I mean, Alvarez didn't play great. I am going to get to Griezmann in just a little bit because I think he was stellar tonight. 39 touches for Juli in 69 minutes. I think he had just that one really long shot attempt at the start of the second half. Yeah, 3 minutes into the second half that Joan Garcia saved comfortably. 4 completed dribbles, 3 recoveries, 5 out of 11 ground duels won. It was better than his last performance at Camp Nou, back in December when he was really, really poor. The earlier commenter, I got sidetracked about Jimenez. They were asking about the midfield. Simeone was training a midfield with Rodri Mendoza and Koke together on Sunday and Monday, or it might have just been yesterday. But he was training with Roger Mendoza in the starting 11. And I really liked that idea because in Roger Mendoza, you have a really good ball carrier. He's press resistant, has a good passing range. I liked that idea because you were going to try to put Barca on their heels and get that first goal. If Atleti had scored first in this game, I think it would have been calmer, but it also wouldn't have been essentially Atleti surviving by the skin of our teeth to reach the final, the first one of these in 13 years. I was worried when I saw Johnny's name in the 11 because I was worried he was going to be picked on due to his lack of pure in-possession passing ability. And lo and behold, this is what happened. Johnny really struggles in the quick passing game that Simeone likes to utilize with his midfielders and his forwards. He really struggles in that. Similarly, it's a reason why Sirloth has been out of favor at various times the past couple of years. Koke was pressed to hell. Johnny really didn't help us in possession, get the ball out, key transition moves, and he's not very press resistant. Koke at 34 years old can't be expected to hold the midfield together by himself for 90 minutes. What Johnny does best, though, as you can see here, are the defensive contributions. 5 clearances, 4 interceptions, 2 recoveries, 2 tackles. Really struggled in duels, though. Big 2 out of 12 and 3 fouls committed. He committed a really stupid one on Joao Cancelo at the start of the second half that led to a free kick. And I can't remember who had the opportunity at the end of the free kick, but it's a dumb foul on Joao Cancelo. And Koke, I think, gave as much as he could over 58 minutes. It's misleading to say that Atleti played with just a midfield duo in this game because it was effectively a 4-3-3, and Simeone maintained that idea in possession for much of the game. At the start, it was Alvarez in the middle, Lookman and Giuliano either side of him, with Griezmann floating into midfield, dropping into midfield. He's been doing this for the last month or so since Lookman arrived. And the idea was largely kept the same after Simeone made his first changes. So right around the hour when Molina and Sirloth replaced Koke and Lookman, Molina slid in at right back. Llorente moved into midfield with Johnny and Griezmann. Sirloth, Alvarez, Giuliano were your front three. Alvarez was moved off to the left. And then your back line was completed with Molina, Pubeo, Hansko, and Ruggeri. Johnny was We're gonna play a bad game. Yeah, I'm sure you did, Syfe. I'm sure you did. Spiders lots on it. My boy Johnny was a bit lucky not to get a yellow on a foul in the second half as well. Yeah, he was. I remember that sequence. Um, right. This is why a lot of teams don't beat Barca though, because not many other teams can do this. I mean, Atleti were really effective at doing it in the first leg because we had an outstanding game in the first leg. And I guess this is actually a good segue. That this comment from Syfe is actually a good segue into why the second leg was so vastly different from the first leg. The Olmo high boot on Llorente. I remember the one on Musso that interrupted him from taking the goal kick that led to his yellow card, his deeply unnecessary yellow card. The first leg result, like it or not, did condition what went on here. Barca were absolutely desperate, and you knew they were going to press you from minute one at home. 13 wins from 13 at home. What worked in the first leg was not really going to work here. I had a really nice tactical convo with Dan Hilton of the Barcelona podcast yesterday. He went on my channel, I went on his, one of those things, and we were talking on and off air about what was so right for Atleti in the first leg and what was so wrong. Basically, but the Barcelona rest defense was a lot better in this game, with Marc Bernal coming in for Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong struggled mightily to track runners in that first leg. And without Pedri without Pedri, you lose Barcelona's not only best midfielder, but like arguably the best midfielder in the world right now in Pedri. Player who is press resistant, can play just about any pass in the book, can carry the ball, can shield the ball, can resist the press. And Rafinha is the leader of their press. Rafinha is their captain. Rafinha is their leader. And it is borne out in how aggressively he hounds ball carriers. We saw a very uncoordinated Barca high press in the first leg with Ferran Torres leading it. This is just my take. If there are any Barca fans in the chat, please feel free to disagree with me. But this is why Ferran Torres has a very capped ceiling at a club like Barcelona, because he's just not a consistent enough box presence. He doesn't lead the press effectively. But yeah, to this comment from Goodbye Mr. A, this wasn't a game that began 0-0. It began 4-0 to Atleti. Yeah, and that weighs on you, whether you can try to put that out of your mind as much as you can. But there was margin to play with here, and Barca knew it. Atleti knew it. Barca were going to have the advantage in terms of not just ball possession, but they're going to press you. It's going to be a horrible experience, and it was a horrible experience. Fortunately, we had the margin. We had the margin to go through in the end. Bernal really cleaned it up. Yeah, Bernal was great. Just the height, the stride, the ball recovery. Yeah, he was named man of the match by FOTMob. Pretty ridiculous heat map here. And he's not a goal scorer, but he got 2 goals here. Completed 86% of his passes. 6 passes into the final third. Made 3 ball recoveries, won 5 out of 8 duels, drew a couple of fouls. I thought he was great. Just Pedri and Rafinha, those 2 players alone. And Dan mentioned it on the channel yesterday. Those 2 players alone change everything for Barca. From the Atleti point of view, you cannot play the exact same way when Pedri and Rafinha are in the team. We got a break. We got a break in the first leg. Not that we didn't deserve to win the first leg and enter the second leg with the advantage that we had, because we were dynamite in the first leg. In the first half, it was a bloodbath. We destroyed them offensively, and in the second half, we were very calm and confident, assured, composed, out of possession, and goaded Eric Garcia into a red card that led to him missing this leg. We all love Rafinha, right? Simeone does. Simeone, he freaking loves Rafinha. Did you guys see him consoling Rafinha after the game? Oh, he loves him. Absolutely loves him. I think he said he should have won the Ballon d'Or. I saw a couple of comments that caught my eye. Yeah, I mean, without Pedri in the first leg, this wasn't as big of a problem. With Pedri and Bernal starting in the second leg, this became a problem. With Lamine Yamal playing better, Rafinha playing, this became a problem. So you could not play the same way. And the intention, I'm sure the intention was not for Atletico to put 9 guys behind the ball and defend for their lives. Like, the other team plays too. This is, I think, a fundamental misconception about a lot of games during Simeone's tenure. Like, mostly from people who watch Atletico play like three times a season. Is that we're not setting up to have 20% of the ball every game. Okay. Barca are a really good team. To knock them out to get to the Copa del Rey final is a big achievement. And I don't really care. I don't really care what the squad cost limit is. I don't really care what the finances are. I don't really care what the transfer fees and the amortizations are. I don't care. Barcelona are always going to be favored to beat Atlético de Madrid. Did you not see the remontada campaign that they have been running for the last 3 weeks? It's hard to play through that. I'm not making excuses for the performance because this wasn't a good performance. Atleti were outplayed. They were outclassed, and they defended way, way more than they should have. I think more than they intended. But because of that margin from the first leg, from such a brilliant first leg that Barca threw away, and Atleti won comfortably, handily, deservedly, we are through to the final. Did you guys, by the way, did you guys see this absolutely disgusting promotional video from RFF before kickoff tonight? It's almost like they wanted Barca to get through and go to the final. I'm going to start it again. You guys see this shit? Contra todos, right? It is a campaign, a pro-Barca campaign, an anti-Atleti campaign. And it is immensely satisfying to put them out of the competition for once. And they won this competition last year. We survived against the system. Yes. Thank you, Saif. Yes, absolutely. Because the system is not fair and equitable and just for all. It's not. Do I engage in some chat for it or do I not, chat? Let me see. I read a couple articles today. Marca and Mundo Deportivo had the same article. 775 of Simeone's 780 results entering tonight would have been enough to get to the final. Make it 776 out of 781. Don't do any shouting for it. Yeah, it feels a little bad to do that after a 3-0 loss. After a 2-2 draw, I would have. At 3-2, I would have. But at 3-0, I'm just going to enjoy this. Just enjoy it. Despite the heavy defeat, we're through to the final. Okay, now I can talk a little bit about Griezmann. I thought Griezmann was absolutely brilliant tonight. Miguel Quintana from Radio Marca, he has his own podcast and show as well. He sent out a tweet, I think at the end of the first half, maybe early in the second half. And let me see if I can find it. Translated, it says, Antoine Griezmann is playing alone. Completely alone. Giuliano, Lookman, to a lesser degree Alvarez, are having such poor games despite everything that Griezmann is trying to generate. Antoine Griezmann has said he wants the Copa del Rey. Antoine Griezmann has said that he wanted to be in the final. He was our top scorer in this competition entering tonight. Did not score tonight, but I thought he had a great game nonetheless. As we take a look at what Fatma has to say about him, we see the heat map. It's all over the place. Griezmann turns 35 this month, but he has, especially in the Copa del Rey, he has been rolling back the years. Just the one shot attempt in the first half. But look at the defensive contributions. 4 clearances. I think 2 or 3 of them from corners, right? 3 tackles, an interception, 9 ball recoveries, 5 ground duels won. Yeah, great point here. It's not every day you knock Barca out of any competition. Like, come on. Do I have a preferred team to play against in the final? Whew, yeah, someone asked me this after the Oviedo game, and I had to think for a second because I really had not been Even with a 4-0 lead, I had not been giving much consideration to the final. Who do I want to play in the final? Probably Athletic. I think Real Sociedad have been flying under Pellegrino Matarazzo. I think they, in their current state, they would give us more issues. I mean, we'll get to see them this weekend, so we'll see how well that analysis holds up. We'll see if it ages like milk or not. Athletic have the Nico Williams uncertainty. They've had a really tough season. A poor Champions League campaign. They crashed out in the league phase. They get up for the final, though. They won the Copa del Rey 2 years ago after knocking us out. So they get up for the final. I don't know, but both sides, it'll be a tough final no matter who we face. Like, it is the final. This is where you want to be, though. And whoever Atleti face, Atleti are going to be favorites. It's not a position we're used to being in entering a final. So it would be interesting. No, I know they played Mallorca in the final, but they beat us in the semifinal. That's what I meant. Griezmann single-handedly dragged us into goal-scoring opportunities, was playing as a sweeper at one point. Just this is the commitment and the intensity and the desire that you want from Griezmann, who has been wearing the captain's band during the Copa del Rey campaign. He's earned it. Griezmann has deserved this. This is as much Griezmann's final as anybody else's for the role he's played in getting us here. Seems like the stuff about Orlando City has cooled off. I disagree with you, brother. Why? Without Messi plus the squad we have, we should be trying to throw things at them. The squad we have is 13 points behind them in the league, dude. The squad we have got blown apart by them 3 months ago. And I'm not trying to discount the victory in the first leg of this tie because it was magnificent. Maybe the best game we've played against Barca in 10 years. Thinking back to the Champions League in 2016. It is not so easy to go out and press and counter-press them because they don't lose the ball. They do not lose the ball. They don't lose the ball. Their center backs, their midfielders, their wingers can, but their pressing is so intense and so coordinated, and they have such a high work rate that it's difficult to play through them. And Atletico aren't just hoofing the ball up the pitch and playing harem ball 38 times a year in the league. Atleti have one of the higher possession averages in the league this year. I think it's the highest they've ever had under Simeone. They're playing the highest average line they've ever played under Simeone. It's a team that is pressing higher and more insistently and at a better rate than ever before under Simeone. But going at Barca is a way to lose to them 3-0, like we did tonight. We were likely to lose this game. Like, let's be honest. Let's be frank. Atleti were not likely to win this game. If you go at them, you might give up 5 or 6, and that was unpalatable because that might put you out of the competition. Having 29% possession is too low. We were dragged into defending far too many times. I thought there were fewer occasions for us to sprint behind their defenders as there were in the first leg. They were much better at keeping the ball. No, this is correct. I agree. These two things aren't mutually exclusive. The squad is not set up for 4-4-2 park the bus and counter anymore. They can't do it like 10 years ago. That is correct. And that's why one of the reasons, maybe the biggest reason why this was so effing nerve-wracking is because we were defending in a way that we can't do that. We can't do anymore. I think I posted something on Twitter at halftime saying another 45 minutes of this and Atleti won't be able to withstand it. And they very nearly didn't. I mean, what's the solution? You swipe a couple of players from Barca, then you can play more like them. Like, could we see Barca slip points in La Liga? They also have multiple players sub out early. And let Atleti back into the title race. At this point, it's a very, very remote possibility. Let's sign Pedri. Yes, let's. Sure, let's sign Pedri, man. I love him. Even though he plays for Barca, and I hate Barca, but he's the world's best midfielder. He's incredible. Did you guys see that he was like waving Hansi Flick off? Like Flick was gonna put on Castado, and Pedri was like, no, I'm staying on. Like, that's kind of goated behavior. It's kind of goated. Nah, Pedri's awesome. He's a great player. Obviously would love to have him, but I mean, whatever Las Palmas sold him for, it was like 20 million in the end. It was far too little. They should have held him for ransom. Yeah, he does get to do that. To NY Watt 2's point, he does get to do that. Yeah. Lookman missed a Barca penalty goal is the most La Liga coded thing ever. Anytime a team misses a sitter, they give up a goal right after. Yeah. This is true. One of the most La Liga things ever happened last night in the Real Madrid Getafe game when Antonio Rudiger slams his knee into Diego Rico's head twice. Once his face and once into his shoulder. Just jams his knee into his shoulder. And neither the referee nor the VAR sees it. I read today that they're putting Pizarro Gomez, who is the VAR official, they're putting him in the freezer, is the Spanish colloquialism. They're giving him a couple of weeks off to think about his actions. The left back situation is still a concern to me, writes Mohamed Yassir 672. Could a left back better than Roggetti not let Yamal have the game he had tonight? It's an interesting question. Is it a cop-out to say yes and no? I mean, Lamine was fantastic tonight. And Roggetti did a really good job on him in the first leg. How many dribbles did he complete, though? 14 dribbles completed. Like, there is an element to this that he's just going to do this. He won 14 ground duels as well. Lamine just does this. Is Roggetti the best matchup for someone like him? Not especially, because of Ruggetti's lack of agility and lack of foot speed. And the amount of cover that other defenders have to provide for him, the deeper we set up, the lower we play in terms of like the low block, how low we play. Ruggetti did really well on him in the first leg. Ruggetti did not have as good a game tonight. Let's see here. Am I still sharing my screen? No, I'm not. Let's look at Ruggetti's numbers here. 58 touches. How many times did he dribble past? 8 times. Maron. Won 6 ground duels. 8 dribbled past. That's a big number. 4 tackles, 3 clearances. Ruggetti did not have as good a game as he had in the first leg. I'll put it like that. Is a better left back needed? I mean, I feel like I could answer that, but tonight is not really the night to talk about it. I think we have to keep the main thing. We have to celebrate getting to the Copa del Rey final, even with a just agonizing display. But I guess to answer the question more directly, Lamine is capable of this. He's going to do this. He is that good. Like, Barca have great players. To knock them out of a cup competition over 2 legs, no less. Not playing them in a final, not playing them over 1 leg in the round of 16 of the quarterfinal. Knocking them out over 2 legs we can't take that for granted. And people are going to say, Atleti have spent X amount of euros over the last 2 years. The net spend is only like, what? Over the last 2 years, a little over 100 million, I want to say. Oh, what else did I want to talk about? Felipe Luis. Yes, a few of you were talking about Felipe. Flamengo sacked him last night. I don't know how many of you saw this, but they sacked him following their poor start to the season. They lost the Brazilian Super Cup and then the Recopa, so the Latin American, the South American Super Cup. I mean, he won the Copa Libertadores with them 3 months ago and pushed PSG to penalties in the Intercontinental Cup 3 months ago. And now he is sacked just after getting a new contract. So naturally, this is going to pour rocket fuel on linking him to Atleti, like that talk of linking him to Atleti. This is incorrect. This is not the net spend. This is not correct. The net spend over Simeone's entire tenure is like 90th in world football. That is not correct. Net spend of 100-ish mil, and a good portion of that is on Lenormand and Surloth. Lenormand, who's not even playing anymore, and Surloth, who we know has his virtues, but also his deficiencies. Felipe Luis, oh my God, they just gave him a huge contract like 3 months ago, and they sacked him. It came out today that apparently Felipe and Georgie Mendes were negotiating with Blueco, which owns Chelsea and Strasbourg. Felipe was under the impression that he was going to get to coach Chelsea. Yes, Speak Ops 1903. He was talking to Blueco. He was under the impression he was going to coach Chelsea, and instead, Blueco was like, "No, we want you to manage Strasbourg." And Felipe's like, "No, I'm going back to negotiating with Flamengo." Understandably so. No, he's not going to go to Chelsea anymore, Slife, because they have Rossinier. They just plucked Strasbourg's manager and made him their manager because Chelsea can do that. So as for Felipe's future, as I mentioned, this is going to pour rocket fuel on the speculation that he's going to coach Atleti in the near future. And I don't know what that means. Is he going to wait for Atleti? Is he going to take another job in Europe? I suspect it's going to be the latter. I suspect Mendes is already very, very hard at work in getting him on his feet somewhere. I suspect he's going to coach somewhere else before he coaches Atleti. We don't know what Simeone's plan is. The logical thing is for Simeone to stay for another season because he's under contract. But if you win the Copa del Rey, does that change things? Yeah, this is what I've been saying. If you're moving on from Simeone, is their replacement going to get you to the Copa del Rey final? Because Simeone just did. Say what you will about this second leg performance, and it was a dreadful experience. It was agonizing. It was terrible. It probably took 5 years off of my life. But he just got you to a cup final. Atleti are playing in a domestic cup final for the first time since 2020. And that only half counts because it was the Supercopa. And, I think this is fair. Tonight they should have played better. I think that is fair. You're with a 3-0 loss, there is an element of your backing into the final. Thank God for the first leg, is what I'll say to that. I would have liked a better performance. Yes, I think that Barca had us under a lot of pressure. I guess in summation, Barca had us under a lot of pressure. They had a couple of their horses back in Pedri and Rafinha. And it's not so simple to just go to Camp Nou and do what you did at the Metropolitano. I understand the sentiment where that's coming from. Oh, you've done it here. Why can't you do it there? Because football is not played on equal terms and equal surfaces everywhere. Barcelona were 4-0 down. You knew they were going to come at you with everything they had. And they did. They did come with everything they had. And Atleti, at times, that resistance really withered. They had some breakdowns. But they survived. They squeaked through. They showed a tough mentality when they needed to. And I credit players like Jimenez and Griezmann, especially. Bayonet and Sorloth at the end, as I've said. Simeone for making the right changes at the right time. There came a point in this game where you knew that any chance of a win was beyond you at 2-0. Any chance of a draw was probably behind you at 2-0. Chasing after a couple of goals would have meant more pain defensively. At that point, you have to limit the damage and get through the way you got through. Like this tonight. Baena was good, Jeremy. Baena was fine. He was... At the end of the match, I think was when Baena was at his best. There are too many cheap fouls that he gives away. There was a point when he came out where I didn't think he was adding a ton. But let's see here. He only attempted 8 passes, completed 4 of them. 4 recoveries, 4 out of 9 ground goals, drew a couple of fouls, both of which were important to salt time off the clock. We just need Baena to get into a rhythm. We need him to get I guess the regularidad, the consistency of minutes, the consistency of starts. He needs to play with ball to feet, and he will create something out of nothing. Yes, very good point from Jerry. This is where he excelled at Villarreal, and he hasn't quite had the same success here, but he was crucial at the end of the game with Sorloth. I'm still quite optimistic about Baena for the future. I know he struggled to this point. I know that he has He hasn't been quite what was anticipated given how good he was at Villarreal, but he had those injuries at the end at the start of the season, and it really disrupted him and set him back. And the team had to keep moving forward. We couldn't just wait for Baena to get healthy. And he's struggled to find his way, but hopefully slowly, steadily, but hopefully surely he is finding his way. He's just far too talented a player to lose the ability he had to create magical assists out of nothing like he did at Villarreal. He's too good to just have that all lost in a matter of 10 months, right? Since his last game for Villarreal. We need Barrios back, man. We need Barrios back so badly. Oh man, what else do I want to say? I think we're getting close to the end of the stream here. I might go for a few more minutes though. Did I finish the Felipe Luis thought? I think I did. I guess to put a finer point on it, you have to know what Simeone's intentions are, and that is hard to know right now. It's hard to know right now. Let's see if I can't scrounge up some Simeone's quotes. Let's see if they're on Marca yet, or Diario Az or somewhere. Oh yeah, look at this headline, guys. I don't think I need to translate this. We are Atletico and we are destined to suffer. We need Jesus Barrios. I love Jesus Barrios, but he's playing in he's playing for Atleti C, right? I mean, we'll see how many more kids get their debuts by the end of the season. I'm not sure he's one of them. Same as Garrett's article, yeah. I think Sam has got it done because I'm on the stream. I haven't had the chance to get a look at it just yet. He might have posted them though. But I mean, we have Marca right here, so let's take a look at Marca. Simeone, we went to 2 semifinals, 3 semifinals. We were close. The teams we faced were superior to us. Over 2 legs, we were superior to Barcelona. Over 2 legs. It's not just about the game tonight. The game tonight is what it is. You lose 3-0. Great. You won the first leg 4-0. We couldn't control Barca from set plays. Yeah, that's true. I was hoping he would talk about Griezmann. He deserves this more than anybody. His quality and his talent, he's had them all his life. I love him a lot. I always want the best for him. I hope he can play that final. So that tells me that maybe there is still an outside shot that he does go to Orlando City, which would be just terrible. He's no disrespect, but he's far too good to be playing in MLS right now. Rather, every team needs a Yamal. Yeah, no kidding. If we had a Lamine Yamal, wouldn't life be different? So it makes it that is something else that makes it Atleti. You're not going to be first to the food bowl. Yeah. Quote from Simeone here about how he planned the match. And did he plan to go out and have 25% of the ball? No, we wanted to attack. But, whether it happens or not, you can imagine everything that happens and maybe it doesn't happen. Very high intensity. Even after Balde and Koundé went out. I mean, this is what he's been doing, dropping Griezmann into midfield. This is what he's been doing, right? In possession, it's been a 4-3-3 with Griezmann playing in midfield. And Griezmann he's been playing really well. I mean, he can't go to Orlando City right now, man. So yeah, the rest of the quotes will be translated and on into the Calderon very soon, courtesy of our good pal, Sam Leverage. Any players who were talking? Let's see. How can he leave now? How is Griezmann going to leave now? You're about to play the final. I can't imagine he leaves now. It's the happiest defeat of my life. Koke said it was the best defeat and the happiest defeat of his life. Our fans are very excited with the cup, and we want to win the title. We want to lift that title. We knew that we were going to suffer. We had chances in the first half, the ones through Griezmann and Lookman, but the ball didn't go in. The team did what it had to do to get through the tie. Like, you know how monumental it would have been to like beat Barca 8-0 over 2 legs? Name me a team that's done that ever in history. You do what you have to do. Welcome, Cindy Meets World. Glad you're here after your dentist appointment. Hope you didn't have a root canal or anything. Glad you're here. To be fair, I agree with Koke, says Syfe. Wasn't pretty, but job done. Job done. Like, you can't imagine being like a Real Madrid fan right now and you have 10 players out injured. You're already out of the cup. You are not. that's the Schadenfreude we can have, is we can laugh at Real Madrid. You're knocked out in the last 16 to Albacete. It's the most Atleti quote ever from Koke. Yeah. This is what I expect my captain to say. This is what I expect him to think. I've got a couple comments about why Almada didn't play. As a scanner of the pitch, you need him in games like these. No, probably not. I'm still not seeing as a starter. No, but with the game the way it was going, was Almada going to be able to play the ball, bring it out of defense, make tacklers miss? Like, Almada very well might have lost the ball 10 times in 30 minutes. I'm fine with Almada not seeing the pitch. Like, I think that is a case where Almada might have been too vertical, right? The thing with Almada is you are obligated to have possession and play forward, play with the ball when Almada plays. But yeah, a couple of you have said this in the chat. He might have gotten bullied physically with how Barca were hounding us in their counter press, like optimum flick ball tonight. And we just survived it. Sure was, St. Keeks. Great result and an awful watch. Sure was. You see it on the screen here, man. I've never been so happy with a defeat. With Almada, yeah, I'm not shocked that he didn't see the pitch. Oh God. Did you see Griezmann's last Insta post? No, I didn't. Let me see if I can find it. I might have to log into Instagram to do this because I'm not logged in on Chrome. Son of a gun, I'm not. Well, maybe our pals at Atleti Universe have it. Hang on. Let me see if they've done something with it. They're usually, shout out at Atleti Universe, man. They're usually pretty good about this stuff. Okay. Oh, I didn't see this. Oh. That was after the second leg last year when Barca posted this photo. Oh, I didn't even have to do the Schadenfreude right there, guys. Oh, okay. No, I have not seen. I haven't seen Griezmann's Insta post yet. Here's Donnie. Donnie Hidell, girlfriend of the show. Speaking of Almada, he looks delighted in it. Yeah, I mean, just because a player isn't playing doesn't automatically mean he's going to be unhappy. Every player wants to play. Some players are better fits for some games than others. I didn't really see Almada as when he played in December. We're 2-1 down. Pedri and Rafinha come off the pitch. And for the last 15 minutes, it is largely one-way traffic until Barca sucker punches up the pitch for 3-1 at the very end. That was a good context for Almada because you need to have possession. You need to take more chances. You need to play a bit more vertically. You need to have the ball. You need to recover the ball and play passes forward and play the ball into the box. And Almada is good at getting the ball toward the box. And he has that chance. It could have made it 2-2 when he leaves 3 guys on the ground and just hits the shot wide. Someone's saying scroll down. It's there. I guess I didn't go far enough. Oh, there it is. Hang on. Antoine. Let's go. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I love this. Love this. It's the same caption. That Barca used last year when Griezmann was in the shot as Barca players were celebrating at the Metropolitano. I love that. That's the only Schadenfreude that we need to engage in, and he deserves it more than anybody. He won a cup with Barcelona. He won the cup with Barcelona, but he knows, as we all know, guys, winning the Copa del Rey with Atlético de Madrid, it means more. Like, I live in SEC country, and the SEC slogan is "This means more," but this really does mean more, you guys. Winning a major domestic trophy with Atleti is so difficult, even in this golden era that we've enjoyed under Cholo Simeone. Because you have to go through these two titans, these two behemoths, these two evil twins to get to anything. To do it as often as we have done it, it's amazing. It is amazing, and the story continues. Oh, I love that so much from Antoine. Oh, mwah, perfect, beautiful, beautiful stuff. All right, guys, we've been going for an hour, and I need to take a drink of something and probably edit some stuff. So I am gonna head. But I'll leave you with this. What we've experienced here, try not to take it for granted. Please try not to take it for granted. I'm going to guess you're referencing the third goal. Yeah. Join the club, man. Join the club. I think it was offside too. We can't take these nights for granted. Because there were so many barren years. And I'm talking after the generation of the 60s and 70s ended, up to the doblete, and then you had relegation 3 years later, and then a period of no man's land before Simeone. This is the 11th final Atleti you're playing under Simeone's management, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Dating back to the Europa League in 2012. This is the 11th final. He's taken Atlético de Madrid to 11 finals in 14 years. I know there is a divergence of opinion on Simeone himself, right? On how the team plays versus how the team doesn't play. But you have to try to enjoy this. I know I'm going to try to enjoy this as soon as I get off the stream here. The fact is, we are now 90 minutes from a title. A title that we haven't won in 13 years. We haven't won any title in 5 years. This is what more casual fans, I guess, outside of our sphere here, our community here, guys. It's a beautiful madness, bendita locura. It's crazy. It's crazy around here, but we love it. It's either it's a feeling that you understand and you have within you, or a feeling that you don't. I think a lot of us here have that. And if you think it's time for a change or for something else, okay, I understand. But Simeone is still getting us to finals. To eliminate Barca over 2 legs to get to a final. No one did it last year. No, they won the final last year. And they threw everything they had at you. They even got a dodgy offside goal, and it wasn't enough. So enjoy this, guys. Go celebrate. I'm going to sign off. Thank you guys for being here. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment as well on the stream. Appreciate you, chat. And I'll see you again later. Alpa Atleti. Vamos.